Welcome back everyone. Today I'm going to be repotting this group of Hawthorns. So I'm going to cut through the majority part of the first part of this repotting, because it's mostly just digging away soil. So first we'll get out the pot, remove a bit of moss around the top and any of the topsoil. Usually that's where fertiliser's been, so it kind of clumps together. As you can see, we've got a pot full of roots really. So I'll start off with the root rake just because this is quite condensed. Obviously it's like nursery soil type stuff. It does break away quite easily, but you have to tease it in between the roots, and I would imagine that these three are joined together kind of thing, which can be a bit of a nightmare to clear out sometimes. So yeah, usually these kind of nursery bought plants are cuttings, so they'll cut a branch off of a bigger tree at the right time of year, put them into pots, and then obviously grow them onto and sell on. It's an easy way to propagate trees. Obviously you can use seeds, but seeds can take a while and depends on the species, but success rate with seeds is not great, so a lot of nurseries will tend to use cuttings or air layers and such. So these are actually quite deep potted. With that, these have got some horrible roots. The root bases aren't great. So I'll be pruning up one by one the roots. So all three of these actually had like I don't know if it's a tap root or what, but it is a major root that comes from the bottom of the plant. This can sometimes happen when you take a cutting. The roots won't come out exactly from the bottom of the cut point. Especially if they're deep potted, they'll start rooting from higher up, so it's my job to then determine what kind of roots I want to keep and which ones I can't. Generally, rule of thumb for bonsai, as we're eventually going to try and get it into a smaller pot, any kind of really thick roots that are growing straight down are going to hinder you getting it into a small pot. So we have to kind of get rid of them. And then, yeah, there wasn't much root left on this one, so I thought I'll stop it there, I won't go too far. To be honest, there's only one of these trees that I really wanted to keep out of the whole group. I bought the pot of 3 of them just for the one. But since I've got the other 2, well, there's no point in throwing them away, right? So this one's quite a standard one really. We just pot it up, fill up the soil, put it to one side. Now this is the one I actually wanted to keep, so this one I've wired a bit already. I kind of knew what the roots were a bit like, and I was debating doing a root of a rock. So I don't know if you've seen it in the videos before, but that rock back left is one that I've been keeping around for a while, and I was debating putting it over that. Issue is when I actually pulled this one out properly, I realised that although it's got some long roots, which are quite good, long fine roots, like you can see here, they're not the best for gripping rocks, not right now anyway. I could potentially grow it on and try and grow some thicker roots from there and then use them, but instead I found this little Buddha. So I think this Buddha was from B&M, I think for about £1. Can't remember when I bought it. So the thing I like about this Buddha, it's got like a little tray that it's holding, right? And actually over the past year there was actually moss growing in that. I thought it looked quite cool, so here I'm going to try and set up the trees so that the 2 main roots are kind of round the neck, the kind of trees growing over the Buddha statue, and then hopefully some of these roots will thicken up and grab onto this. And there's a couple into the little tray that he's holding there as well. See if I can make like a little secondary kind of pot out of that. So usually you'd raffia the tree to the whatever statue or anything that you're using. This time I had to use wire because I haven't actually got any raffia at the minute. And then I made this little cage out of a net pot that I had. So I spare a little net pot. And then I'll just use wire to keep this one together. and then we fill it up with just perlite. So perlite itself is great for this kind of stuff. So if you talk technical terms about soil, so usually with soils the root will grow through the particulate. So say if it's akadama, one of the good things with akadama is that the root will actually try and grow through it, and then it will break down over time, so then the root keeps on splitting and splitting. In bonsai we like a lot of fine roots rather than one big thick root. With perlite the roots won't do that, so they'll actually grow around the particulate because the water doesn't actually penetrate the perlite itself, it just stays around it, so then the root will grow around the perlite, which usually means you get thicker roots, or roots that will grow thicker quicker. And really for a root over rock or a root over statue, that's what you're after. So this is the third one. Also you've got this higher root up the top there, which is completely dead anyway, so that goes straight off. Unfortunately 2 out of 3 of these do have quite bad inverse taper. What I mean by that, the thickest point of the trunk should be at the bottom, at the base of the tree, and then it should get gradually thinner as it goes up. Obviously this isn't always true in nature. Yeah, so this one, all the root ball's a bit of a mess, to be honest. Where it's pushed up against the right side of the pot, the roots have grown to the left, so there's just like this little bulge out to the right. And yeah, I'm just combing out any of that leftover soil. So we're buying a lot of nursery kind of stock from, you know, garden centres. You find that obviously the potting mix that they put it into is meant to be temporary. Most of these trees are supposed to go in the ground within the first couple of months of having them. And trying to keep trees alive in pots isn't always easy, so the best way is to get all the old soil out and then put it into some better soil. In terms of soil choice here, we've just gone for John Innes number 2, which is like a pot and compost, which is a bit loamy, bit sandy, quite good for drainage, and then 50% perlite as well. So perlite, as I say, is like a, I think it's glass actually. I think that's what perlite's actually made out of. It's little glass rocks basically. Unfortunately they do float, which isn't great, but they're very good for drainage, and as I say, roots tend to not grow through it, they grow around it. This is my general kind of mix for outdoor trees for growing things on, trying to make sure that they grow back vigorous. Obviously some of the root work that I've done here, since they are actually near enough in leaf, these are some of the first ones to bud out, the Hawthorns. So I just wanted to make sure that they actually survive through the spring, and you know, in the UK at the minute, we tend to have hot springs. Usually get a heat wave around the end of March, beginning of April. You probably noticed, like I did, it kept on wobbling around the tree in the pot, which isn't always great. You want to kind of try and keep the tree stable. Any kind of wobbling like that with new root growth, it can easily wobble a root off and, you know, kill off new roots that are growing. So I'm lightly pushing down there, just trying to see if it'll keep itself steady, but it ends up not doing so. So one trick you can use if some of these trees don't have much of a root ball to actually tie down in the first place, so trying to tie it through the pot like I normally would isn't going to be ideal here. So instead I'm using an anchor point on the top of the tree, tying a wire around it from each side of the pot, and then just tighten that up and it'll keep it a bit more stable. At least until it grows more of a root ball so it can actually keep itself going. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you in the next one.